Okay, gonna review a 1v1 game. Haven't done this before. Just played this last night, and there's a lot of back and forth that goes on. Now, I've never played this map before, and as I was playing it, what I realized is that the bases are actually very close. It's a very thin map, right? Uh, the great distances, if you try to play on one flank, it takes quite a lot of time to switch to the other flank because it's sort of like a rectangular kind of map design here. So, and if I pull up the tactical map here, usually I just send the rear echelon out and then put the queue order for the rifleman. And I sent it out off to the left here, thinking that this was the field that I should go for. But looking at the way the capture points are laid out, I figured that this one's actually easier because I only need to capture one cap point, then I get access to this field here, and it's slightly closer to mine, I believe. Kind of looked like that whilst I was playing, but yeah, slight mistake there because I don't know how the map is, so wasted some time with the rear echelon moving to the left and then to the right. Well, so deploying the rifleman here. So my strategy here was to go mechanized commander. I had airborne, mech, and armor. No Calipes in this. I find that you don't really need a Calliope if you can, if you have good micro. You can manage blobs a lot with just infantry basically. You don't need a Calliope as a hard answer, which is a bit counterintuitive because I only play like team games. Well, I play a lot of team games, not I only play team games. I've been playing a lot of 1v1s lately to try and improve my micro, and this is one of the games where I'm trying to get practice in to improve my micro. So yeah, go mech, and it's against the OKW. So I'm trying to utilize the Jeep here because the OKW struggle early on with anti-tank. It takes time for the Volksgrenadiers to get the Panzerfaust snares off. So there's a window of opportunity where they don't have any like real anti-tank capability or any anti-armor. Problem with the Jeep is that it is pretty weak, right? So enough small arms fire can bring it down. So I hadn't found the Stern Pioneers because they went off to the left. So I got in this engagement. There was a Cooper wagon here, so I decided to just go in. So I used the truck to push the Volks out of the green cover, try to bully them there. And I get caught out here because he manages to maneuver behind this like oil thing. And I get caught out here. And I make a mistake here, stopping. I should have just kept on right clicking. I tab exit out, but he still manages to get the Jeep. So there goes the Jeep. Usually in the past I would then get another Jeep, but trying to refrain from getting sort of like redundant units several times over. I just continue going with the rifleman build. So the opening engagement here does not go well at all. I do have one fuel. I have one fuel, one BP, so still in the game. It's quite uncommon to see double Stern Pioneers out from the very beginning. So that caught me off guard there, and it was poor maneuvering with the Jeep.
We're losing a capture point.
So he's going off to cut off the fuel. So knowing that he's moving off to this side, I decide to go and attack the other side. I'm not confident with just 3 rifles and no Jeep anymore. So if I can make him come to me into a sort of like prepared area where I know
A capture point is under attack.
know the terrain a little bit better because he has to find me and to attack me. I'm feeling a bit more confident in that situation. So the build that I'm going for is go into Lieutenant, get the command post, mechanized command post, get the steward out. The problem with this build is that in the anti-tank department, you're going to be relying on the AT snares from the riflemen and the satchel charges from the cav rifles, which I am going to get a couple out. That combined with the bazooka that the lieutenant can get without the need to upgrade the weapons racks. and from then on just go straight into major and then get out Jacksons and Shermans. That's all the AT. The main AT is going to be in the form of armor units of some kind. It was kind of a risky strategy, but you can pull it off if your micro's good. And I'm here to try train my micro, so I'm trying to like forcing myself to play into something that I don't usually play. It's not a build that I would usually go for, especially in the team game. I wouldn't go for that. So I split the army up here. May not have been the wisest decision, but considering the fact that this point is right outside my base, I decide, you know, even if I walk into like all of 3 Volks here, I can just immediately retreat, regroup, and then shift over to the left flank here.
Ambulance ready for action.
So putting damage in, he just immediately retreats. So what happens here as the game progresses is that this the guy I'm playing against, he basically has 2 infantry units. He has the 3 Volks that he groups up into 1 unit, and the Stern Pioneers, which he's going to upgrade with Panzerschrecks into another. And he just moves these 2 like blobs around to fight, basically. He doesn't try to like split them all up. I try to split my guys up here and there. For example, I usually don't even bother maneuvering the ambulance up in the 1v1. And in this case, I have a good feel for the game. I know that I've just beaten the Stone Pioneers. They have all gone and retreated. I did some damage to them. It's going to take time to recover from that. So I can just push it up, be aggressive, try to get the heals and reinforce here. And in the time that he counterattacks, I'm already prepared, basically, kind of. I'm getting the machine gun out because, you know, I'm having problems here dealing with his infantry. That's gonna be the answer for that. Target secure. I believe that if he hadn't gone for the Panzerschrecks, or even just gone for 1 Panzerschreck, it would have given me a lot of more problems. Because I'm struggling against his infantry here. It's not going well. So I get caught in like a sort of pincer.
Germans are making a push.
Get pretty close here. I knocked out the Kubelwagen, but this rifle squad spent a little bit too much time trying to take it out. Almost got wiped, 1 rifleman there.
A capture point is being
but I have taken the right field, the left field, so he now needs to recap 1. So fuel-wise, I thought I was doing okay. It doesn't seem to be that good. He's gone for a flak panzer and he's still at 83 fuel. And he has about more than double of my fuel income as well. Because I haven't been able to get the connection points. So as I said before, the anti-tank in this build is quite limited. I've got 1 cav rifle squad coming out now. And the cav rifles are what's gonna help me hold the line against the flak panzer and his first 2 Panzer IVs. First Panzer IV, I don't think he gets 2. Okay, that does it. But now I've got to manage this pretty large infantry army. I'm trying my best not to blob them up. Walk into a mine there. Once I hit that, I immediately start thinking about getting the minesweepers for the rear echelons. Usually I won't get the minesweepers on the rear echelons, not until I finally realize that they are using mines. Might need to rework that. Might be a good idea to just get the minesweepers once I've gotten bars and whatnot on my infantry. But in this case here, I am lacking in the weapons upgrades. I rectify that later on. Try and use the rear echelons to keep an eye out on the what they're doing. Then once I'm comfortable that I have him in a position that I like, I'll deploy the MG to move the infantry in. managed to get a good maneuver here as he's trying to get his support weapons out. I managed to cut him off. I've got a good rifleman flanking on the far left. With the MG in the middle to suppress, force one of the Stern Pioneers to retreat. So I'm just keeping this here as a distraction. Right, I can maneuver the cav rifles around this bush, and I've got the rifleman to cut off its escape to AD snare it. But this, of course, means I'm going to take a lot of casualties. And if you watch a lot of the replays, especially in the team games, I'm more than comfortable in leaving my infantry out to take the hits so that other units or my teammates can maneuver in and finish off the enemy. And here it pays off because I managed to get in close with the cav rifles, satchel off, he's gone. So I've got the Stuart now coming out, so I've got some kind of like light vehicle pounder of sorts. I do have to deal with the double Stern Pioneers with Shreks, so I need to keep that in mind, and the Mechanised which I spotted.
Krauts have cut our supply line. Frontline units are being hung out to dry.
So it's important to try to keep the screens of infantry in front of the armor. So I need to spot the Mechanised, and of course spot the Stern Pioneer blob. So I play it quite risky here. I keep it somewhat nearby, but I had a good feel of disengagement here, so I kept it in. Don't quite get the angle on that. Only got one of the models for the MG to get the suppression, but he immediately retreats both. So I had a good counterattack there. I took out the AA half-track, moved into the middle. I don't believe I spot this truck. And later on he sets up his Chevere here as well. And I don't spot that until later on in the game, which causes some problems. But regrouping here.
What the hell am I meant to do with these recruits? Area's ours. Green as green can be.
Well, grab your shit and follow me.
So he finds that yeah, I don't recall this part. I was not paying attention to the left flank there. And I just lost my lieutenant, which at the time I was also not paying attention. Here I wasn't paying attention as well, watching the replay. Oh well. I'm pretty sure I must have died somewhere here. Ah well. Yeah, I didn't realize I caught that out in the open. Huh. This is going quite well here in this counterattack. I'm playing it risky with the rear echelon there. And I don't think I spotted the MG. That was a missed opportunity because I end up walking to this MG in the middle. So I've lost my lieutenant. And I managed to deny his Shibu. He will set it up later on here to cover the fuel point. In terms of army composition builds, we're looking alright. I've got the second cav rifles. I decided to not go back for the lieutenant to get a bazooka. Might as well try to go with satchels, which may not have been the best decision looking back at it. But yeah. So we're re-maneuvering here. I need to reconnect this territory here. And I'm trying to keep up pressure because I have the field. He is the one that has the counterattack. Normally it would have been better to just group up everybody here and attack with one group. But, I'm feeling confident, so here comes in the Volks Grenadier blob. Got the MG. Keep the MG. I didn't set up the MG in like a preset position. Didn't have that in mind. I wanted to wait till I found one of the blobs, whether it was the Volks blob or the Stormfire blob, and then set up the MG and then get good hits into it, get suppression down. So, but the problem without going for the weapon upgrades, I don't have any real counters against the MG. Got no grenades, none of those kind of things. Faust in, but we're right outside the base. chase with the Mechanised. Okay, so now he sets up with the Sphere.
What the hell am I meant to do with these recruits? Green as green can be. Well, grab your shit and follow me. We're on the hook!
Now I get the weapon rank upgrade, get everybody upgraded with bars. So this infantry army that I've got here is pretty deadly
The
now.
capture point is
His
under
Volks don't
attack.
have any SDGs. He's got the Panzerschrecks and Bullstorm Pioneer Squad, so their anti-infantry capability is kind of degraded. It's this MG here that's going to be causing some problems. This Chevere, which I'm going to walk in later into, which also is going to cause a lot of problems. The two Mechanised I need to be really careful about.
Our supply line just got cut off.
So he's not interested in trading any damage of any kind. Once he sees that he can't win an engagement, he just immediately retreats.
The capture point is being
And as I said at the beginning, the map is pretty thin, so nothing entirely wrong with that I can see. Although fundamentally, you ask like, if you look or hear top tier players, I don't think they would agree with that. They also probably wouldn't agree with blobbing up all three Volks Grenadiers like that.
a capture point.
That is the game. Set the MG as a base of fire, put the infantry off into cover. Keep Stuart next to the MG because I'm not too sure where his anti-tank is. He immediately retreats out of that. So I need to bring the Stuart up here and start putting shots at this building. In this case here, because it's the OKW machine gun, I'm not sure what it is called. What is it? Is it the 42 or is it a 34? I'm not. Well, it doesn't matter, but it's not the best MG in the game. Alright. So I was able to set up the MG as a base of fire, start putting shots, and he wasn't able to quite suppress both infantry units here. I mean, still we get called out by the cannon rotor on the flank. And I wasn't able to dislodge it. I did manage to do some damage to the
The
MG.
capture point is under attack.
So now I'm blobbing my units up. So usually what happens is that I just all select from the base, right click to where I want them to go. And once they get there, hope that I haven't walked into MG and then spread them all out. And in this case, since I know that the MGs are here, once we get to this area here, I spread them out. Not probably the best way to go about things, but I'm trying to improve my micro, and this is a lot better than how I used to play like a couple of weeks ago when I started playing Code 2 again. Usually I would have just all select, right click somewhere here, misjudging the range of the MG, and then just walk in and have everyone suppressed. Here I'm taking a little bit of time to just maneuver around,
Now available for action.
probe where he is. I managed to catch his Stone Pioneers planting mines here.
Enemy forces have 300 points.
So one thing I've learned about light vehicles, why in the 1v1 scene, competitive scene that's meta, is that light vehicles don't require manpower to reinforce. It's just a vehicle. You don't need extra manpower or fuel to keep it running. Once you buy it, that's all you paid for. You got it for the entire game. So every time you can get kills or bleed models off the enemy with a light vehicle, you're basically bleeding him of manpower directly without sustaining any real losses in terms of resources or models, basically. So I've got all my infantry spread out, spotted. Now this is where I run into the Spear. I know his support weapons around the Spear, so I can't really dislodge his support weapons with my infantry because the Spear is just going to suppress everybody. So I've got to keep that in mind now. But right now I'm just trying to focus this MG. If I can eliminate one of his suppression units, though I'll be happy with this engagement. Which I managed to do. He's gone.
Promotions in! Objective secured!
We're losing a capture point.
That's on the money!
I get lucky here because I have a lot of infantry. I managed to overwhelm the Spear, so I smoke it off and he can't see anything, and I try to pick off his support weapons. I steal one of the cannon werfers. Couldn't quite steal, well, I wasn't
Krauts are taking one of our points.
I was debating whether or not to steal the support weapon, but because I had so many units, I wasn't gonna risk it because I would probably just be more drained on my manpower, and I'd probably be trying to micro too many units, and I'd probably lose like an infantry squad trying to micro the support
Our
weapons.
supply line just got cut off. A capture point is under attack.
Follow me. Back to full strength. Ready for back to full strength. Reinforcements in.
So I'm quite happy with how the light tank performed. It doesn't have that much kills. I do manage to get up the vet free, I believe. It's a lot better than how I usually play, where it just dies basically once I get it out.
Capture complete.
So spread out the infantry and have the flanking element going off here. Have the support weapons behind the infantry screen. Pick where I want to deploy the Stuart. In which this case, you know, there's only these 3 guys. Once I go off to the flank, I don't find anything behind, but I do find this that he gets out. The good old Panzer IV. So I get the snare off, one of the cannon with a shot off, then try to go in for a satchel. Probably not the best decision. I was low on health, low on models. Yeah, I don't know how the Shavir got the shot off there. I wasn't expecting that. So knowing that the Stone Pioneers were there and I did damage, I didn't realize this when I was playing the game. That his Stone Pioneers are the guys that repair his armor. They're the engineers. So once I know that I've done enough damage to his armor, I should have realized that once the Stone Pioneers were hitting back, they were going back to repair the tank. And gave me an opportunity to push in here. Because I had wiped out the cannon warfare, I stole one. I didn't know that he recruited the other. I should have assumed that he was just going to immediately recruit that. But the Stuart can, you know, take some hits, and it's only one mechanical. Yeah, something to improve on later on. Run into problems here.
Field promotion.
Now we run into a lot of problems because lacking AT, as I said before. He's gonna swarm in with infantry then. And he overextends. Stone Pioneers don't want to have anything to do with this blob, so they're out of there. I really need to spread these guys out. So I already got my major out. I don't utilize the major's forward ability because the map is too small. I don't know how. For the first time I'm playing this map, I managed to get a satchel off of that. I was pretty lucky with that. The battle's gone back and forth across this area, so I'm not confident in any one particular spot. Get a second satchel off. Recall that. Huh. Okay. So yeah, about the major and ability, I don't set up a forward operating base anywhere because I'm not confident. And I think it was a pretty good decision because later on as the game progresses, he does send probes off like 1-2 squads later on to this area. And probably would have caught the major out in somewhere. That'll be the end of it. So I'm just going to keep the major back in base. I should have utilized it a little bit more now because he's got the artillery ability. I do eventually wake up and start using that. But right now I'm just using the recon ability. Keep it right here behind these bushes next to the base. And just call in recon. Have a look at what he's got. paying attention to that rifle squad because it's the flank side, usually focusing here. Get one good cannon worth a shot off.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
Now I don't play OKW, and what I didn't realize was that it doesn't act like a normal support weapon. If you press R, it retreats. It doesn't reverse. It doesn't have a reverse move. And I make, I think, twice in this game a misclick here with the Mechanised Warfare when I wanted it to reverse, but it doesn't have the reverse capability. It just retreats. Yeah, that's that. So anyway, I've got this first 76 ship now. I loaded in the high velocity rounds because I wanted to engage this Panther 4. But, you know, he ran away. And now I'm shooting the HV, the high velocity AP rounds, and it does next to no damage on the infantry. The AP rounds actually do pretty well against infantry. I don't realize it at the time. So he's got a second MG, managed to get the flank around with the cabs. Setting up on this flank because he likes to approach in from this area. So if I cut that off, might give me some time to maneuver in on here on the right side. I satcheled the truck. Might not have been the best decision, but I figured at this time just do as much damage to anything I can find. Get close with that. Oh, goes down. Yep, suffering losses. But it's okay. I've kept the infantry core alive, and my steward's now vet 2. I'm happy with that.
We're losing a capture point.
Yeah, vet 3 rifles with bars are actually doing okay. I'm paying attention here. Poor rifles.
Of an infantry unit being wiped out.
Sometimes I forget units because when we're regrouping, when managing all this, just look here and think to myself, I must have everything, right? Nope, we got a lot more in this army. So I was floating manpower quite a lot about 10 minutes, I mean 5 minutes ago. I had the rear echelons go in and build fuel caches. Which was interesting because I had a massive infantry army that I was trying to keep in the field, but I was still floating. I think I got up to 700 manpower at one point. That was a bit scary. This was a misclick, I believe. The idea with the rear echelons is to send them out as like a scout unit. Be the first to engage an enemy, find out where the general sense of where the enemy is, what kind of units he has. And hopefully they don't die. Hopefully I realize fast enough that, oh, I need to retreat that now because it's done its job. It just occurred to me, he does have the counter to both the Mechanised Warfare and the MG, but as the game progresses, never actually ran into that much problems. Okay, now I do. Oh, okay. So I was wondering what it was that was shooting these like phosphorus rounds. It was the support gun. I thought that he had like some call-in ability unit, but that wasn't the case. Okay, that answers that. Planting more mines. We've got the Jackson rolling out now after the loss of the 76. Decided to just go for the hard counter against his tank.
Tank destroyer is ready for orders. Send your orders.
From this point on, it's just going to be a battle for the middle DP. He will send 1 or 2 lone units out to try capture the VP under my nose, but doesn't quite succeed for him. Then he's got the Shavir locking down this area of the map. Pretty strong position for the headquarters because all these points are basically all next to each other. Same on this side here. Very weird map. Oh, lost the cab rifles there, Vet 3. Jackson missed the shot. So this is where indirect fire support would have been helpful. I didn't go to mortar because it's not meta. If you go a mortar, you're basically taking up one of your infantry slots. You could have had a rifle, and usually the counters to it is just smoke grenades and whatnot, which I didn't go for in this game. I think actually at this point in the game I finally do get I do have the grenades unlocked now. I think it was when I was having trouble engaging that MG, that's when I got it. But my rear echelon squads are usually caught out in the open because I'm using them to recon units. Don't get around to use the smoke. The cav rifles have smoke. Same as the same ability as the rear echelons. But I don't quite get a good play, a good position, and a good attack off to try dislodge these.
Tank support is here. Sherman
Not right now, this point in the game, but later on, I managed to pull something off, and finally start realizing I've got the artillery from the major, which for 60 munitions it does all right. I find it very useful. So they don't have... So he went for the MP40s instead of the SDGs. I'm not too sure what the difference is between those two weapons. I'm pretty sure the SDGs are more efficient. They do more damage at longer range. I didn't realize at the game, when I was playing the game. Having trouble with maneuvering the Kenworth. Then we got a 76 out of Jackson out. Not using the Stuart like the reconnaissance role because once you walk into this much Panzerstrike firepower, it just gets deleted. Oh, wow, that was a good shot. There's a major artillery that was called in there, tried to dislodge the machine gun, which I managed to do. I had to pack up, maneuver around. It gave time for the riflemen to get good shots in. So I had the MG set up this way because I knew that his Volk's blob was on this side of the flank. So I was confident that I could deal with whatever he had here with just the infantry, supported by the armor. Keep this just in case that he tries to flank, but that didn't happen. Instead he just comes here, caps the field point and the VP, and takes out this cache. I completely forget about the Stuart because I move it behind the base instead of like in front here, which is my go-to place to try and regroup things. Because usually I put the reverse move and put it on the mini-map, which may not be the best way to go about things, but it's a very fast way to get a unit out without trying to deal with the pathfinding problems in the game. So I go for a M8 Scott here, because I'm still running into problems with the blobs. I need to start eliminating units, basically.
One of our capture points. Light gun carrier tank ready.
So I run into problems here. I was like trying to bring it over here to the MG to set up here, then I realized it's moving this way. And I put it in the building, which probably wasn't the best decision. But
A capture point is under attack.
yeah, still managed to force a retreat. So I got the Scott out now. Get one good hit on that. Force retreat. Yeah, I completely forget about Stewart. I get lucky here. I think I managed to save the Scott. So he's got a Stuka out. And doesn't do as much damage as he probably would have wanted it to. But I catch the Panther 4 out on the flank here. Managed to get in a kill. I popped the smoke just in time before the cannon werfer reloads, and he doesn't blind fire. So I catch a lucky break there. I'm not too sure what he was trying to micro at that point in time, but pretty sure one blind fire shot would have been able to get the Sherman. So take out a Panther 4. I've got 4 army units now on the game, in game. My infantry units, I've lost 1 cav rifles and 1 rifleman since the mid game. But it's doing well because he only has 1 Stone Pioneers and 3 Volks. So army composition wise, I'm doing well. Just look at the pop cap here, he's at 56, I'm at 70. So if I can just dislodge this, right, if Shavir goes, I can easily maneuver in and knock out all the support weapons. But I struggle this game to knock out the Shavir, and I don't actually knock it out. I get close to knocking it out at the end of the game, but once he realizes he can't defend it anymore, that's when he surrenders the game.
Ground secure. Now, get men covering the approaches. What the hell am I meant to do with these recruits? Green is green.
We're losing a capture point.
Grab your shit and follow me. Those are cracking over out. Give us some trouble here. God damn it. Someone get us out of here.
Stuka barrage. Knocks out a cannon werfer. Bet 3 machine gun still stays alive. I'm happy with that. I'd rather have the MG than the cannon werfer at this point. Got the Scott mobilized again. I think I finally realized the Stewart was sitting at the back of the base, so I got that mobilized as well.
A capture point is under attack.
So repositioning all my armor up here on the right flank, because he hasn't been pushing with infantry on this side for quite some time. So I decided to mount an attack and try and push in and take out the Shavir. But whilst I'm trying to do that, he's desperately throwing what little infantry he has left to the caps. I don't know why he's not spending anything though. Oh yes, I know, he's getting the King Tiger. King Tiger does make an appearance in this game. That's what he's saving for. And honestly, I mean, I would not have gone for the King Tiger. If you had more infantry, you know, you've already knocked out quite a few of my squads. I'm having trouble dealing with what you have now. That's the major artillery that I called in here. And I am bleeding you of BPs, so... Finally knock out that truck.
Unit. They got wiped out.
I lose the major here. I wasn't paying attention, calling in the artillery strike and then walked them in here. I do get the major back again because I'm floating munitions, and the artillery ability from the major is I found quite helpful in this game.
Are now down to 200 points.
Getting another 76 shell now.
Capture point is being overrun.
Support weapon firing the phosphorus rounds. So there's the King Tiger here. So it's a King Tiger against 2 76s, a Jackson, and a Stewart.
A capture point is under attack.
That's the armor engagement for the most part here. Yeah, at this point does have one core infantry unit more than I do. I've got 2 rifles, 1 cav rifle against his 3 Volks and 1 Stonepine. I've got the MG to support them, so I've got that going for me. Eventually getting close to get the satchel up, I believe. Nope, I don't. I'm still under the impression that he's got like a second Mechanised or somewhere. When in theory I should have just pushed right here, could have ended the game.
We're losing a capture point.
But I guess it's wiser, good form to just make sure you have infantry the screen, so kind of regroup here, have everybody healed up and reinforced, and then move in on the middle. Confident in just keeping the AP rounds now because I've got 2 supported with the Jackson.
50 cows up. Rounds complete. Hold fire.
Forget about Stewart again. Making a push now. Got the infantry screens up ahead. Trying to knock out this Mechanised. I got it knocked out. Stone Pioneer's on the retreat. Doesn't have that much AT now. Poor Michael here. I need to have moved the Scott in to deal with this blob earlier, but I finally do manage to go get around to doing that. Too much for him to deal with. He got 1 Faust out, so 1 Sherman's pretty damaged. And now we're pushing in. That's the major artillery, I believe. I called it another strike. Scott is now firing long range with his barrage ability. And there's the GG surrender. So right towards the end there, I had a lot of armor. I mean a lot. It was 5 to 1. Should have been able to just push in once I identified the Mechanised first. So I could have won the game probably 5-7 minutes earlier. Probably big mistake there. Managed to keep most of the infantry alive, which is an improvement. Didn't keep it all. Still took quite a few losses. But it was a pretty okay game. I mean, went quite well. It was a pretty even match. He, with his Volks and Stone Pioneers, just kept blobbing. If he had been able to just spread out the Volks whenever he tried to maneuver them and kept them together with the support weapons and the Stone Pioneers, because most of the time he'd just move 1 blob around, whether it was the Stone Pioneers or the Volks, into one area, the other to the other area. They were always disconnected. So yeah, it's some of the big mistakes on his part. But other than that, yep, good game.